What's up, guys? Wian van der Berg here. So I made a video about a week ago of how I made money in South Africa. So I'm going to do another one of how I made money online, and we'll see how this one does as well. And thanks for all the support of everyone who's been following along. If you're new to this channel, just watch along, because I think in the South African space, there's not a lot of people talking about this, about how to make like literally hundreds of thousands of rands every single month. I think my girlfriend was just calling me. All right, no worries. But yeah, so I'm just going to talk like right off of whatever comes to my mind. So I'm not going to be cutting away anything like that or so. So I'll give a quick explanation. By the way, the purpose of this video is not to tell you you need to copy exactly what I necessarily did. It's just basically to show you, first of all, what is possible in South Africa, and that you can actually make hundreds of thousands of rand every single month. And then also just tell you about the opportunities. And so obviously I'm not giving any financial advice or telling you what to do, but I'm just telling you what's worked for me. Obviously you need to figure that out on your own, but it helps to listen to those who have obviously done it before. So I grew up in a small town in the Free State in Frankfurt. For those of you who actually know where that is, there's probably like two of you right now who might have heard of it. And yeah, so there wasn't much to do. So I essentially learned magic tricks when I was still in school. And then I started using content as a way to advertise myself. So it's this, by the way, again, this has nothing to do with magic. I always say that if I could go viral and build millions of followers and millions of rands with magic tricks, then if you're like, oh, but I don't do magic tricks, it's like, well, if I could do it with magic tricks, then imagine what you can do. So that's the thought process that I always use, because anyone can make content. Like any skill you have, you can make content. So essentially, I posted my first videos. Back then it was on Facebook. The first video, the first big one that I got was 16 million views, suddenly blew up. I got invited by the Springboks. I got invited to an island outside of Dubai. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like, that was kind of the start for social media for me. It wasn't nearly what it is now. And then TikTok came along and I decided, okay, let me just put content everywhere. And that's when I kind of saw the strength in what everyone now wants to call, a personal brand, which is the new, obviously, the term that everyone's trying to, obviously, what everyone's trying to chase and do now. And I saw kind of the strength in that without really knowing what it was. And I thought, okay, maybe if I just post more, more of this cool stuff will happen. And eventually I hopped over to TikTok, where I grew 16 million followers, which was at the time the biggest in the country. And then eventually I moved over to YouTube. And I noticed that's where a lot of the big money was lying. And literally from the ad revenue from the videos, I was earning way more than I was earning from brand deals, although I still do that a lot as well. So the ultimate goal for me is obviously to get to a certain amount every single month. Right now, I would say it would be 400,000 to 500,000 rand a month would be the goal. But I've seen really great results. Now, I do want to tell you how that story obviously goes and what I think you can do in order to really try and maximize your opportunities as well. Again, just saying, what's worked for me. Not you have to obviously make your own decisions. You can't blame me for anything. But cool. So I will tell you this, that the first thing I would say, if you're trying to do something like that, is the belief system that you have to adopt. Like, you have to be, in a way, so delusional, and you have to really believe that you can actually do it. Like, if you ask any successful person, what they've done, they'll probably tell you like, oh, I just believed that I could do it. And everyone wants like an answer, like, no, but what did you do? But that thing doesn't exist. Like, no one will tell you like, this is what I did. It's all the small things. I actually talked about that in my previous video as well. But you have to truly believe what it is you want to do, that you can actually do that, okay? The second thing I would say is God is very, very important. So, I know a lot of atheists, they don't, they like to think logical about stuff, but guys, we're in the middle of a dark universe, and for some reason there's planets, for some reason there's life, and science still to this day can't explain where life comes from. So, I mean, that's up to you. But to me, I believe in God. I think there's something greater than us. I don't think we're that intelligent compared to the size of the universe to be able to know exactly what's going on. But I think there's something greater. And I do think if you look at morality, that God actually exists. And that is the reason a lot of people in the online business space are like, oh, I just thought it into existence and then it happened. that's God's grace. So there's nothing mysterious about it, and that's what I believe. So so first of all, you have to have that belief. You have to have that belief in God. You have to also have that belief and kind of delusion in yourself and that you can actually do it. So for me, I had to adopt a lot of skills, right? If I had to make those videos, I had to be comfortable showing my face. I had to be comfortable presenting myself, not looking at a video like, oh, I don't like the way my hair looks, oh, I don't like the way I sound. That is actually sometimes the main barrier of why no one's chasing their goals. And I know you might think, oh, but that's just a small thing, I don't have to post a video. But that could be the difference between your dream life of working with all these brands, making all this money, literally not having to sit at a job, and people still don't do it. So what I've learned is people don't necessarily like to take action. I'm not saying that I'm the most hardworking person on earth, but you'd be surprised what you can do if you actually just take those first steps. Because if you ask yourself, how many people give up? How many people are not actually chasing their goals? How many people are not even setting goals for themselves, right? They're just spending countless hours on TikTok, countless hours on TV. So the first thing, if I could go back in time, the first thing I would tell myself, even at school, I would tell myself that, you can pretty much do anything. You just have to put in the time and actually take the action. And I don't know why we're just waiting on that all the time. And I think, I think sometimes we're overwhelmed because we think there's a certain thing we have to do, but that's not the case. So, like I said, I've been very fortunate. At the moment, I am making in the hundreds of thousands every single month, which, sounds insane. It really does. But once you actually get there, you'll also, it's a great life in South Africa, obviously. I love this shot as well because it's got the nice house. Honestly, when I started, I hope I didn't lose the camera there. When I started, I didn't want to buy a car. I didn't want to buy a house. Well, I'm not buying a house, but I'm renting. But, it's very expensive. So I didn't want to do that stuff because I was like, you have to save up all your money, you have to that. And that's something that I've kind of learned as well. A lot of people will tell you that, oh no, spend your money because then you're going to have to work harder. But that could be catastrophic, right? How many people do we know who's literally living high above their means and they're struggling to get through? And I think accountability is a big thing in anything you do. Like if you're struggling to get through the month, what's stopping you from just eating out less, right? What's stopping you from maybe, not having such an expensive car, such an expensive house, and then just, kind of use that to get further in life, I'd say, and to help yourself in that way. Again, this is not financial advice, but it's stuff that I've learned. So I was very scared of taking that first step. But what I always say is it's funny that the moment I went into the expensive house, the moment I took those expensive holidays, I went to Japan with my girlfriend. That trip was R250,000. And I was like, gee, this is a lot of money, right? I'll be honest, I actually spent more than I planned originally to do. And that was a crazy experience. So we went to Disneyland, and Japan is just like the coolest place ever. But what I've noticed is every time you do something like that, it's like your life just improves. So, I've heard so many people now say that, travel, like the biggest business gurus that I've looked up to, one of the best pieces of advice they always go for is travel. Like, you've probably seen the videos on Instagram of, everyone always saying like the money will come back, but time won't. And that is so true. Like when I took my dad to Paris, obviously I felt like, those tickets were, I think like 30,000 Rand a ticket. Now I'm throwing money around, words of money around here, guys, but like I always say, this is not to brag, right? This is a business channel. We have to talk about this stuff. And I want to show you what is actually possible because a lot of people, I was just going to finish on the France point there, but obviously I felt like I spent a lot of money, obviously not knowing if the Springboks were even going to be in the semi-final or final. But when I stood there and I saw the reaction on my dad's face and he's at the stadium, I just felt like, finally in just some little form I can show my gratitude and appreciation for, the great person he's been. And that brings me so much joy. And I will promise you this, you will hear this all your life, and it's 100% true. Like, money doesn't buy happiness. But what I will say is, money doesn't buy happiness, but you have to figure it out on your own. So that's a really good quote that I've heard. And it's very, very true. Like, you will believe your whole life, like, oh, I don't need money. But still you're going to go to your work. Still you're going to worry about your rent. Still if there's a medical emergency, you're going to panic, right? And so truly you can't really believe it until you actually buy that car, until you actually, live in that fancy house. And then you can kind of see, okay, wow, it really wasn't that amazing. But at the same time, there's a lot that if money basically just accelerates, if you're a good person, it's going to accelerate what you can do. You can now help more people. You can feed the hungry. Is that the word? But yeah, you can help people. You can build schools. You can help your parents. Your dad won't be yelled at by a boss. I mean, medical bills. Like, you can do really good stuff if you're a good person. If you're a bad person, yes, money will make you very evil. But to me, I think that's a way of looking at it. Like, as long as you never forget, the Christian values. But I think a lot of people, they like to kind of hide behind that as an excuse to not really take action. To sit and watch Netflix while you don't really know where your next meal's coming from, right? You don't really know if you're going to get your kids through the month. So, I mean, sometimes the hard stuff is what you need to hear in life. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think there's a lot of opportunities today with online business. People just don't want to spend time. What I would say, people are always like, but where do I start? As soon as you let go of like any excuse, because that's what I did. I also, obviously, I could have the excuse that I was from a small town, right? Like, no one there, like, you don't become like TikTok famous. You don't get millions of followers or anything like that. But I'm very grateful that, God showed me this way and that I stuck to it. And I truly believe anyone can do it because I've seen it hundreds of times. I have never to this day seen anyone actually take action and not have some results. Like, you might not become the most famous person in the world, but something will probably happen because I've never seen it not happen. Like, if you think of any successful person, you can say, oh, that person's lucky. But you don't just get lucky. You don't sit and watch Netflix and suddenly someone walks into the door and say, hey, you're the next, Springbok fly half. You have to put in the hours. You have to show up to the gym, to the trainings. You have to believe, first of all, that that's what you can do so that you actually play rugby at the university. So this is just an example. Obviously, that's a very competitive field to go into. But I think that's a good way of looking at it. Like, you have to still take action. So it's always hard work. Whenever you get lucky, some people might work harder than you and not get the same luck. But you still have to work really hard for that luck. And I think I always use the example of people say you're lucky or, you don't, that's not a real job or something like that. And I said, then do it, right? Then do it. If it's that easy, if it's not difficult at all, why are you going to a job when you could just be doing this? And then they start realizing that it's not that easy and that, the obstacles is actually, showing your face, learning the skills, having to network with people, having to learn a skill that you can actually put out to the world. But what I would say is, I'm not here to promote you on the idea of, content or becoming a magician or anything like that. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to do on Instagram now, is to help people in any way, right? So I think that the thing is, I've just seen hundreds of people turn their lives around, and I don't think you have to necessarily sit at a job that you hate. I've been very fortunate. I truly believe anyone can achieve something great, but you're going to have to just, take action. If you think about it, right, if you go to the gym now, like, and you seriously go to the gym, you pursue the knowledge of what workouts to do, a great meal plan to have, you talk to someone who's done it before, it's impossible to fail. Like, if you went to the gym every single day for 3 years and you ate right and you're not in shape, like that, you would defy science. You'd be the first person in history who didn't get in shape from doing that. So there's no impossibility in it. Like, it's just the challenges of actually going, of actually stopping the excuses. So I always say, like, the excuse of, oh, but I grew up, without this, or I went through this. Like, okay, like, do you feel better? Right? I know Alex Hormozi, he's used that example, probably the best thing he's ever said. Like, do you feel better now? Imagine if you stood there, you're like, remember, I went through this, I didn't have an easy childhood, I didn't this, and someone says to you, okay, you're right, you're just gonna, your life's just gonna suck forever. That person would become so offended, and it's like, well, that's what you want to hear if you complain, right? So in my opinion, like, you're here to fight, right? Everyone wants the same stuff. And if there are people working 10 times harder than you, what makes you think you're gonna, people believe in this dream of like passive income. It's like, wouldn't everyone want that? Wouldn't everyone want to just buy a house with a very basic salary and then just be able to retire early? Like, do you really think it's that simple? So in my opinion, like, I think it comes down to learning a skill and educating yourself. Because something I will tell you, and then I'll wrap this video up, that I've learned is you have to understand that you are basically in a vacuum and all the information is out there on how to become successful and how to become rich. If it wasn't, no one would be able to become rich. Like, if it's impossible for someone to become rich, then people wouldn't be doing it, but they are. So the information is out there on how to do it. So if you take a certain billionaire, you take away all their money, they know exactly what stocks to invest in. They know exactly who to contact to maybe sell a product to. So it's just information. So the more you can expose yourself to books, to podcasts of very wealthy people, not lunchtime talks with everyone talking about what they think would work, people who have actually done it. If you just think of something you've achieved in your life, something you're really good at. Let's say you're really good at carpentry. The best, if someone comes up to you, they're 16 years old, they're like, I want to get into this. The best thing they can do is to spend a month with you. So that's something I would say. It's kind of something I kind of neglected in a way, which I wish I had realized earlier. But notice and listen to those who are where you ultimately want to be. Even if they're not necessarily doing the thing that you want to do, there's a lot you can learn from them and a lot of pitfalls that you can avoid. But yeah, that's pretty much just, I know you guys always, I know, a lot of people would watch this video and think, I don't want this mindset stuff, but in reality, that's all that's holding you back. Like those systems that you're looking for, like what business should I go into? There are guys selling toothpicks that are billionaires. So just think of that. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, the video probably ends very weird. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe. I'll be making a lot more of these videos. Let me know what you would like to see in the videos below. And yeah,